years
of no decent clothes.
just cutting your own hair to save money. The majority of your social life.
So 5 years. You're gonna spend 5 years with rags instead of good clothes, not meeting any women, because quite honestly, if you're doing this, then women don't want to talk to you anyway. And cutting your own hair to save money? Yo, that's dumb.
If you want to grab our men's lifestyle supplement, all links are in the bio.
This is the only guy who'll sell his supplements in his ebook before the video even starts.
The perfect male timeline.
The exact systems you can follow step by step to have the best possible life.
As a man, there's so much as men that we want to accomplish, so much that we want to
But
do.
that all at the same time, there's so little time in order to do that. I'm going to take you through each single...
Step by step, doing the right things at the right time to have the perfect male life.
Yo, living your life as a step-by-step process from going A to Z is not a way to live a good life.
I truly believe that male life is all about timing, and that's exactly
Your life is not all about timing. Life is about what you do with the time that you're given.
from 25 to 35. You need to pretty much give up women the majority of your social life. You need to have an exact routine and stick to it for 10 years. Be dedicated to one idea.
Yo.
Into it.
Give up your social life, give up women, give up everything for 10 years of your life in order to do what?
You know, you might want to rise up to a top level management job with a 6-figure salary, and you think once I get there, I'm made. Okay, so that might...
So from ages 25 to 30, you dedicate everything that you have. You sacrifice your friend circle, you sacrifice your social life, you sacrifice meeting women, and then you become the MD of a company when you're 35 and you have a 6-figure salary. That sounds awful. If you get there, if you have a nice bank account, you have a 6-figure salary and you're 35 and you missed out a whole decade of the best years of your life, you're gonna look back and you would swap in a heartbeat all that money to go back to 25 and relive that life the actual way, actually have fun and do something, memorable with the best years of your life.
You could just be a big stocky guy all the way up to 35 and then cut some of the body fat.
Hell no. What he's suggesting is from the ages 25 to 35, you just bulk, and you become this huge stocky guy. And then when you reach 35, then you start cutting. I think that's ridiculous. That's a horrible way to live. First off, why do you want to look stocky? Who wants to look stocky anyway? You want to live a healthy, fit life throughout your life. It's not like when you become 35, suddenly fitness becomes important. I'm not against bulking, but you shouldn't be bulking for 10 years.
You're going to have to give up nights out. You're going to have to give up dating women. The majority of the time, if it lands on your lap, if there's like a straight 8 out of 10 and she's like,
want to come back to my place right now?
you're going to waste like 2 hours of your life. Go and do it because that opportunity might not pop up.
Yo. So for 10 years of your life, from ages 25 to 35, you're just going to not interact with women at all unless they interact with you first? That's a terrible idea. Like by the end of it, when you're 35 and you're, the MD of a company and you're rich, you are going to not have the skills anymore. You're now this old 35-year-old guy who completely lost touch with everything, doesn't have social skills. Now like you have a bank account. What are you going to do with the bank account? You can't get the affection of women with just a bank account. The most interesting people in history, they experiment. They aren't, risking and feeling this fear of you got to do this, and this from ages 25 to 35, and then you can set yourself up for success from 35 to 45. The interesting people in history don't do this. They live storied life. They go and do things which may or may not succeed. What Chris is describing is actually a cowardly and weak kind of way of living. When you plan everything out and you think it's going to go perfect, but it never actually will. Like think about Winston Churchill. Think about the Lawrence of Arabia. These men went out there and even risked their lives to do these crazy things because they wanted to and because it would be an adventure to do so. They didn't sit there planning their life and, investment portfolio 25 years to 35 years. I'm gonna bulk from 25 to 35 and then I'll cut and then I'll look good. You have the control over your life. You don't have to time everything perfectly. And if you do try to time everything perfectly, you will guaranteed fail.
The overlap. So on the next one, number 3, this is from 30 to 35. 5 years of
Clothes. It's 5 years of not dating any women, not seeing any women, basically not necessarily seeing them, but not seeing them in that capacity.
Maybe cutting your own hair to save money.
So 5 years. You're gonna spend 5 years with rags instead of good clothes, not meeting any women, because quite honestly, if you're doing this, then women don't want to talk to you anyway. And cutting your own hair to save money. Man, imagine once you get out of that 5 years, right? When you're ready to start living your life, so to speak. Your confidence is going to be trash. Like you haven't spoken to girls in 5 years. You haven't had friends. You're wearing rags. You're cutting your own hair. It's not possible for a human being to just live a certain way for 5 years and then suddenly become the social butterfly and you're good with women, you have friends and you have good fashion. That's not how life works. You cannot just segment parts of your life and say, you'll just work for 5 years and then you'll play for 5 years. That's not how it is. You have to find a blend of what you love and what you can do, what you're passionate about, and also gives you a financial reward while you're still maintaining a social life. And then that's how you live a blended, happy life. And when you look back when you're 50, you actually did something fun. You did eventful things. You have stories to tell to your grandchildren. The way he's living, or this way he suggests that you live, that's not how you make stories. And life is about making stories, not about perfect timing.
Like that first 5 years is military, right? You're doing 5 hours of sleep, dedicate your business and nothing but fitness. You'll just grind.
That's a terrible idea. So he's literally suggesting, and I'm not making this up, he literally just said you should be sleeping for about 5 hours per night for those 5 years. You know what's that going to do to your health? If you sleep for only 5 hours per night, that's not going to be good for your business and success. Your creativity is going to come down. Your actual work being done per day will come down. The way you interact with your team is not going to be good. And business is not just about how much work and how many hours you put in. Business is about how much passion you have for the product, what the product brings to other people's lives, what meaning it creates for them. And you need your sleep for first a healthy body and healthy mind, but also for the actual monetary and financial rewards which come with business. You need your sleep.
Grinding on these two things. You might sleep a little bit more for fitness purposes, but you are dedicating every minute, hour, second. But then in the second half of those 5, we introduce stuff like better skin, okay? Start taking care of your skin, your hair if you've got it, your beard hair, etc.
No, you won't. You won't have your hair. Look at you. Look at your head. That's what he has done to himself. He did his dedication for 5 years straight, sleeping for 5 hours. And that's why he probably lost his hair. The amount of stress that your body goes through when it doesn't get enough sleep. That's probably what did it to you, man. Military lifestyle. Like, I'm in the military. We don't sleep for just 5 hours. That happens if you're in the field, yes. But usually you'll try to get as much sleep as possible so that you're having the performance level you need for the next day.
Health is so important once you get past 30, and that's why I think, because in your 20s you can get away with maybe...
Oh, health is important throughout your life, not just after you turn 35. Just wanted to put it out there.
I wouldn't recommend this, but worst case scenario, you could have a shit diet, get to 30, and you're bulked, you've been hitting the gym, but you've had a shit diet, shit lifestyle, you're not sleeping well. At 30, you've got to change that.
I know you said you don't recommend this, but you kind of did recommend this. You're basically saying you sacrifice everything, you're a bulked person with bad diet, bad health, bad sleep, and then you turn 35 and then you're trying to turn all this around. That's terrible advice, because you are the habits that you build, and you can't just suddenly change all your habits when you turn 35. Like, if you have a lot of unhealthy habits, bad sleep and bad diet, that's going to continue. It's going to have its own momentum, and you can't just turn it around when you're 35.
Now the next one is to become more well-rounded. Once you get to 30, I think it's important to start learning languages, start working on yourself, to start incorporating fashion, let's say, into your look.
Okay, so you want to become a well-rounded person after you turn 35, and then you start learning languages and traveling. You don't just get to become a well-rounded person. A well-rounded person is not somebody who has a lot of skills and experiences. A well-rounded person has a character of his own. He has organically just gone and had a lot of experiences and learned a lot of skills throughout his life. It's not something you can just plug in when you're 35. That's not how it works.
You can be like, okay, I'm going to start dressing better. I'm going to start, like I said, skin and stuff like that. You just become a better individual. You go and learn different things outside of just success, fitness, whatever. You become a better person, okay?
Yeah. You wait till you're 35 to become a better person. Great idea, Chris.
Guys, adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue, whatever you want to call it, hypothyroidism, I've suffered from all of them. And it came...
I'm not surprised.
From just working too hard. I've done it, guys. I've done those years. I did it from probably 21 to 25. I burnt out 2-3 times. I didn't have any energy. I got depressed to the point I was stood on the top of high buildings.
So why haven't you learned anything from this, Chris? You're talking about chronic fatigue and how you've been through this grind and you were stood at the top of buildings. He was literally considering ending it all because of the workload that he put on himself. This is not a sustainable way to live, and he should know this because he's been through this and he saw the results of this. He's been suffering.
I was massively depressed.
Ethereum right now
would probably get you 1.2 Ethereum coins.
If that goes up to 20,000.
That skincare routine wasn't really worth it. Do you see what?
So when is it right to invest your money in crypto rather than your own health? Crypto may or may not give you a return. I don't know. But you should always be okay with investing in your health. Your health is always going to pay dividends. Your health is always going to pay you a reward. There's no reason to sacrifice your health for the pursuit of money, because then you have to spend your money to get your health back. It's stupid. You have to find a balance that works for you.
Because 30 is when a man's life starts and it begins. So I think
the idea that a man's life starts when he's 30 is simply wrong. Man's life starts when he's born. He tries to make the distinction between a woman's life and a man's life and how a man gets his advantage when he's 30. There might be truth to the idea that man gets an advantage when he's 30. However, his life starts long before this. The stories, the experiences, the people who he meets, the skills that he learns, the stories that he reads, places that he's been, the foods that he's eaten. These are the things which make him who he is. When he turns 30, he's already a man. He's already accrued all these experiences. And by sacrificing these experiences, you're still a boy. You're still not grown. You're still a teenager because you failed to have the experiences. Now you're just a kid with money.
So I think at 35 to 50, you can have... You don't have to work necessarily massively hard.
Just make smart decisions, let your employees work for you, let your money work for you, and just cement that wealth.
So Chris's ideology in a nutshell is you sacrifice everything. You sacrifice sleep, your diet, your health, social life, women, everything for 5 years so that you can make money. And then you use the money to get back the things that you sacrificed. This is ass backwards thinking. I think the better idea is to incorporate pieces of all these things in your life as you're making money. And the reason is simple. I don't think what Chris is saying actually works. Like if you try to sacrifice everything to make money, I think you'll be less successful at making money than the guy who has found a way to synergize all these activities that he genuinely enjoys with his business life.
I just think it's important to get to the end of your life, look back and be like, I did everything with perfect timing.
Who wants to get on their deathbed and then look back and see that he has done everything with the perfect timing? Rather, you want to look back and say, I did this, this, and this. This was amazing. I helped so many people with their lives. I had this adventure. I met this woman. I've tried this, this, and this. I've been to 20 countries. And of course, family. You want to spend time with your family.
So I'm sat here editing my video and I realize how negative it sounds. It sounds as though I'm doing a 10-minute character assassination of Chris. That's not my intention. I disagree with Chris on all these points, but I still respect the guy.